How's wedding planning? Is it fun?
So you asked.
Lauren Sánchez is done making plans because she's officially a married woman. The Emmy-winning journalist tied the knot with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos in a private ceremony in Italy.
Rosie O'Donnell objects to this union. Just days after Amazon founder Jeff Bezos wed Lauren Sánchez in a lavish multi-day celebration in Venice, Italy. Estimated to have cost $50 million, Rosie has joined the voices criticizing the extravaganza.
Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez throw an epic pajama party. The pair, who tied the knot in an extravagant ceremony in Venice, Italy, June 27th, cap off the weekend of wedding festivities with a PJ-themed bash for their guests.
Let's just start with this ridiculous wedding that took place over this weekend, because these two were behaving like they thought they were royalty. They were, she did the balcony wave like she's a Maryland figure or a genuine British royal.
She wrote on Instagram June 30th, "The Bezos wedding, it turned my stomach, seeing all these billionaires gathering in the gross excess of it all, the show of it." She also took a moment to call out the star-studded guest list, which included Hollywood attendees such as Orlando Bloom, Kim Kardashian, and Oprah Winfrey.
I'm so excited to announce this. I never thought at 55 that, I'd be getting married. I mean, life is just beginning. It is just beginning.
You are preaching to the choir here. We love you. That's amazing.
It just gets better and better.
They had the ship, their yacht, which has its own yacht, carting them around with their massive amounts of foam dripping into the Mediterranean, which I'm sure is not eco-friendly. Too bad, because Leonardo DiCaprio was there. I'm sure he didn't approve of the amount being spent on the foam into the Med.
With Kim Kardashian putting a sexy twist on her slumber party attire, wearing lingerie by Delora Fendicole, nude heels, and Lorraine Schwartz jewelry.
The two said "I do" in front of famous friends after celebrating their 2023 proposal on a yacht with Kris Jenner and Bill Gates, and then again at an intimate soiree with Oprah and Rob Pattinson.
Continued, "Is Oprah friends with Jeff Bezos? Really, how is that possible? He treats his employees with disdain. By any metric, he is not a nice man." In a separate post, Rosie reshared a tweet that juxtaposed the amount of money Jeff allegedly spent on the wedding to those currently losing their Medicaid and Supplemental Nutrition Assistance program.
And from what I can tell, Walter, almost no actual friends. They don't know Gayle King. They invited Gayle on that ridiculous space flight so they could get some news coverage on CBS. And now, because she did it, she's at the wedding? Oprah? They don't know Oprah. That's a lie, too.
Welcome back, you guys. And today we have got to talk about Lauren Sánchez Bezos, because this entire wedding saga just keeps getting wilder by the hour. First, people were confused about the foam party on Jeff Bezos' $500 million yacht. Then they were questioning why women got Amazon slippers while the men were gifted luxury velvet ones. And now, the internet is in full meltdown after Katie Couric slammed Lauren's couture wedding dress, calling it tacky, while Rosie O'Donnell straight up called the entire wedding gross. Yep, that happened. And that's not even scratching the surface, because this wedding wasn't just expensive, it was a 3-day flex filled with major celebrity drama, last-minute tequila deliveries by private plane, surprise performances by Ellie Goulding, and what some people are calling the most chaotic guest list in billionaire history. From Orlando Bloom and Sydney Sweeney's post-party stroll to the Kardashian-Jenners looking totally over it in their water taxis, every single moment is being picked apart online.
Oprah went and watched Gayle go up in this thing, so now she gets an invite? Why? Because she's a celebrity. Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm sure they're really tight with Leonardo. I'm sure it's Sydney Sweeney, the new toast of the town out there, because she's got these enormous breasts that everybody's obsessed with. How does she wind up there?
And honestly, it's not looking great for Lauren right now. But if you think this is just about one over-the-top wedding, think again. Because this isn't the first time Lauren has been linked to money, fame, and eyebrow-raising headlines. Her journey from TV reporter to billion-dollar bride is a story that includes a powerful Hollywood agent, an NFL superstar, a scandal involving leaked texts, and a strategic image makeover that's got people saying she's trying to become the next social media mogul. So today, we're diving deep into how Lauren Sánchez went from being seen as a side character in Jeff Bezos' love story to rebranding herself as the main character in a $50 million Venetian fairy tale. And yeah, it's every bit as chaotic as it sounds. Let's go all the way back, because the rise of Mrs. Bezos didn't start at this wedding, it started way before that.
If you told me it was like Lauren Sanchez's colleagues from the first news station she worked at, sure, that's normal. That's what a true friend would do, invite their lifelong friends. Or Jeff Bezos when he first opened Amazon. Yeah, okay, I get it. Even Bill Gates was there. I'll give him that one.
Before Lauren Sánchez was walking down the aisle in custom Dolce & Gabbana with paparazzi following her every move, she was just another face on your local news channel. Except she wasn't exactly known for her journalism skills. A few resurfaced clips have people cringing more than clapping. Like that one moment where she giggles on air and gushes over another female anchor's outfit saying, "Not that I go that way, but you are one gorgeous girl." The energy? Totally flirty. The delivery? A little chaotic. And let's just say, public speaking didn't come easy for her back then. She's even admitted herself that reading off a teleprompter used to give her anxiety. She said she'd start sweating anytime she was called on to read in class. So yeah, news anchoring wasn't exactly a dream job, but it was a platform. And Lauren used that platform to make some very powerful connections. Fast forward to the year 2000, and Lauren was in a serious relationship with NFL star Tony Gonzalez. They even had a child together, and while they never got married, that was probably the first time Lauren's name was showing up next to headlines with millionaire in them. But that wasn't the endgame, because after Tony, she married Hollywood super agent Patrick Whitesell, and that changed everything. Now, if you don't know who Patrick is, just know this.
Huge fellow tech titan. But this was meant to generate headlines and fawning coverage and accolades, and nothing better encapsulates that than the moment they got married, she wiped her Instagram clean and repopulated it with her Vogue magazine spread photographs and just the one post of Lauren Sánchez Bezos.
He's not just a successful agent. He was one of the most influential power brokers in all of Hollywood, running WME, a major talent agency. He's the type of guy who can make or break careers. And Lauren, she just happened to be married to him for nearly 15 years. Together, they had 2 children, and suddenly, her visibility in elite circles skyrocketed. It's also during this marriage that rumors started swirling. There were whispers that Lauren and Jeff Bezos were getting a little too close. At the time, Jeff was still married to Mackenzie Scott, and Lauren was still with Patrick. So, when their relationship was suddenly made public in 2019, just as both couples filed for divorce, the timeline raised eyebrows. People weren't just speculating, they were side-eyeing. Like, was this a whirlwind romance? Or had it been going on behind closed doors? Because the moment those headlines dropped, Lauren's life went from Beverly Hills comfortable to Bezos-level billionaire overnight. And that was only the beginning. Because what came next was chaos. So let's talk about 2019, because that's when the internet truly exploded over Lauren Sánchez and Jeff Bezos. Out of nowhere, tabloids were flooded with steamy, over-the-top love notes between the Amazon founder and a woman most people barely recognized. And suddenly, everyone knew Lauren's name. The timing was messy. Jeff Bezos was still married to Mackenzie Scott, and Lauren was still officially with Patrick Whitesell.
And their picture from Vogue. Give me a break. What does this say about us, if anything?
Well, it was a Las Vegas wedding held against the backdrop of a civilized European city. And it should have probably been held in the Las Vegas version of Venice rather than the real version.
But what really set the internet on fire wasn't just the affair, it was how it got exposed. Because the receipts? They weren't leaked by some anonymous source. They came from inside Lauren's own family. Her brother, Michael Sanchez, somehow got access to Lauren's private messages with Jeff. And these messages weren't just, "Hey, can't wait to see you later" texts. We're talking paragraphs of pure romance drama. One of them had Lauren writing, "I want to smell you. I want to breathe you in. I want to kiss your lips. I love you. I'm in love with you." Another one had her saying, "I'll show you with my body and my lips and my eyes very soon." It was all very theatrical. And the bombshell? Those messages, along with a very questionable bathroom mirror selfie of Jeff wearing nothing but a towel and a wedding ring, ended up in the National Enquirer. Yeah, that happened. Jeff and Lauren were furious. They accused the Enquirer of blackmail. Jeff published a long Medium post detailing how they tried to extort him, and lawsuits started flying. Her brother, Michael, ended up getting federally indicted. And the whole situation turned from tabloid drama to full-blown legal circus. But here's the twist. Instead of retreating and keeping a low profile, Lauren did the exact opposite. She leaned into the attention. She didn't shy away from the spotlight. In fact, she used it. This was the moment she pivoted. No longer just a woman dating a billionaire. Now she was a name, a personality, a soon-to-be brand. Because while most people would have been publicly humiliated by that kind of exposure, Lauren seemed oddly unbothered. And Bezos? He doubled down. The relationship got more public, more polished, and eventually, more powerful. But even after all that scandal, Lauren was just getting started.
Venice is a city of great commercial enterprise. It was a very rich city. All the ships of the world went out from Venice, and the banking of the world was centered there. So this is an attempt to take over with the new class, the sort of old world charisma of this wonderful place.
Because her next move wasn't just about headlines, it was about legacy. And what came next would make sure no one forgot her name. So after all the chaos, the leaked messages, the lawsuits, the headlines, most people expected Lauren Sánchez to disappear into luxury somewhere, quietly living life behind the scenes as Jeff Bezos' girlfriend. But Lauren? Yeah, she had other plans. Because instead of fading away, she turned up the spotlight. She started appearing at red carpet events, flying around on Bezos' jet, and hosting ultra-exclusive yacht parties with names like Kim Kardashian and Katy Perry on board. Her Instagram became less about life and more about lifestyle, with staged glam shots, designer fits, and all the hallmarks of a woman building a personal brand. It was like watching someone reintroduce themselves, not as a reporter, not as a scandal, but as a star. Lauren transformed from being the other woman into a full-blown billionaire influencer. And whether you liked her or not, you couldn't ignore her. She started showing up with the right people at the right time, like when she was spotted on that infamous yacht trip with Kim and Orlando Bloom, or when she played the chic hostess at Bezos' private birthday dinners. She even started doing interviews talking about her passion for aviation, environmental causes, and yes, even space travel. The messaging was clear. This wasn't just Jeff's girlfriend, this was Mrs. Bezos in training. But it wasn't just about being seen, it was strategy. While the internet dragged her for being too much, Lauren kept showing up with more. More gowns, more headlines, more curated moments that screamed billionaire energy. She went from Hollywood circles to international spotlight almost overnight. And it worked, because even if people were hate-watching or side-eyeing her every move, they were watching. And in this game, attention is currency. And here's the kicker. While critics were mocking her walk, her talk, her laugh, even calling her a try-hard, Lauren was building a narrative. She wasn't just dating the richest man in the world. She was aligning herself with his image, his future, and now, officially, his legacy.
Everybody looked tacky. As you say, the guest list seemed to have been chosen by a PR firm. Where was his little league coach, his favorite professor, the guy who stuck with him, like you say, in the early days of business when nobody thought he was going to be a big deal?
But if anyone thought the yacht parties and couture gowns were her peak moment, they clearly hadn't seen the wedding yet. Because what she pulled off in Venice wasn't just a wedding. It was a power move heard around the world. All right, you guys, this wedding was not just a ceremony. It was a cinematic-level production, 3 full days in Venice, a custom couture wardrobe, a guest list that looked like the Met Gala, and enough silk and slippers to clothe an entire fashion week. And the price tag? Estimated at $50 million, with some insiders saying it could have easily gone even higher. It started with guests arriving in sleek water taxis to the exclusive San Giorgio Maggiore Island. Think towering florals, gray carpet entrances, and candlelit canals. The vibe? Old money meets Instagram aesthetic. And of course, Lauren made sure every moment was captured, edited, and posted like it came straight out of a Vogue editorial. The details were insane. There was a foam party on Bezos' $500 million yacht, silk-themed dress codes, and private performances. Ellie Goulding even sang at the reception. Guests were given slippers to wear for the pajama after party, but here's where it got messy. The men received luxury velvet VB Vincia slippers, over $100 a pair, while the women were gifted basic black Amazon ones. People online immediately dragged the decision, calling it tone-deaf, sexist, and downright cheap considering the billions involved. Then there were the guests. Oprah was there. So were Leonardo DiCaprio, Usher, the Kardashian-Jenner clan, and Tom Brady. And yet, even with all the A-list glam, the energy online was brutal. Katie Couric went viral for calling Lauren's lace Dolce & Gabbana gown tacky. Rosie O'Donnell publicly called the entire wedding gross and said the whole thing looked like a billionaire cosplay fantasy.
It was impersonal, it was tacky, it was expensive. It made a lot of money, strangely, for his nemesis, Elon Musk, because most people used X to tune into this thing. So he spent $50 million, and I think Elon made 50.
And if you thought that was it, there were protesters in Venice. Locals weren't thrilled about their city being taken over by what many described as a celebrity circus. The foam party alone caused major backlash, with critics calling it wasteful and insensitive in a time when global inequality is at an all-time high. But here's the thing. Lauren and Jeff didn't seem fazed at all. They danced, they toasted, they posed for photos like the world was their stage. Which, honestly, it kind of was. And while the media dragged her, Lauren looked completely unbothered. Because for her, this wasn't just about getting married, it was about sealing her place in billionaire society with cameras flashing and critics watching. But what really fueled the headlines after the party wasn't the dress or the drama, it was the hookups. So here's where things went from extravagant to straight up Hollywood gossip fever. Because once the wedding wrapped, the real show started at the after parties. And what happened behind the scenes? Let's just say people weren't exactly sticking with their plus ones. First up, Orlando Bloom and Sydney Sweeney. Yep, you heard that right. The two were spotted casually strolling through the streets of Venice the morning after the wedding, both looking a little, well, let's just say weathered. Sydney had on sunglasses, comfy slides, and a no-makeup vibe that basically screamed, "Where's my iced coffee?" The internet immediately started speculating. Did something happen between these two at the party?
But the great irony, and it's only known to somebody overeducated like me, is that the ruler of Venice and the great palace of Venice was called the Doge. Remember that?
It didn't help that Orlando was also seen dancing with Kim Kardashian during the reception. But just when fans started shipping them, he completely flipped the script by leaving the party with a mystery woman, someone who was definitely not Kim or Sydney. The two were seen cozying up in a water taxi post-reception, and that was all it took for the headlines to explode. Meanwhile, Sydney Sweeney wasn't exactly sitting in a corner either. Reports say she was tearing it up on the dance floor with none other than Tom Brady, and even linked up with newly single Brooks Nader. Like, girl was multitasking. And honestly, the chaos wasn't limited to the hookups. Even the guests who weren't making headlines for romance were getting side-eyed. People noticed Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble looking exhausted on the dance floor, Kylie showing up in full bodycon glam, and Kendall wearing some kind of hooded accessory that had fans begging her to let it go. And Kim? She looked completely over it, barely smiling in photos and clinging to a soda bottle like it was the only thing keeping her upright. It felt like the entire event had turned into a kind of clout Olympics. Who could be seen with whom, who was dressed to kill, and who looked like they hadn't slept in 36 hours? And right at the center of it all, Lauren Sánchez. Watching, orchestrating, posing, and owning every single camera angle. If this wedding was a movie, she wasn't just the bride. She was the director, producer, and lead star. But she wasn't done yet, because her final move would flip the whole internet upside down. So after all the drama, the headlines, the silk pajamas, the foam party on a $500 million yacht, Lauren Sánchez made her boldest move yet. She officially reintroduced herself to the world with a single, calculated update. Her name. She wiped her Instagram, deleted old posts, and came back as Lauren Sánchez Bezos. No announcement, no lengthy caption, just a new profile, a soft rebrand, and 2 glossy wedding photos.
The Doge Palace, the Doge of Venice. Where have we heard that word? I think that Elon and Jeff are, as they are in space, engaged in a coded confrontation, competition with each other beyond all of our heads to be, the world's billionaire.
That looked like they belonged on the cover of a luxury bridal magazine. One photo shows her in a high-neck lace Dolce & Gabbana dress, hand in hand with Jeff on the steps of a Venetian church. The second, her smiling under the Italian sun, looking every bit like the billionaire bride she's worked years to become. And that wasn't all, because the fashion choices, each one was a statement. She wore Alexander McQueen, Schiaparelli, Versace, and even a rare 2003 couture piece, styled and curated to absolute perfection. The most talked about item? Her ring. Not just any engagement ring, but a 30-carat pink diamond, estimated to cost anywhere from $3 million to $5 million. And to top that, she also rocked a second oval diamond ring, allegedly worth over $6 million on her right hand. Because of course she did. Lauren knew exactly what she was doing. This wasn't just a celebration, it was a brand launch, a character evolution, and a viral PR masterclass all in one. She's no longer just Jeff's girlfriend or the woman from that scandal. She's a public figure now, with a billion-dollar last name. And while some people were still dragging her looks, questioning the taste level of the event, and comparing her to Mackenzie Scott, Jeff's philanthropic ex who's donated over $19 billion, Lauren didn't flinch. She didn't address the backlash. She didn't clap back at Katie Couric. She didn't post a single story defending the wedding, because that's the thing about Lauren. Her silence is her strategy. She lets the photos do the talking, she lets the diamonds speak. And love it or hate it, she's commanding attention at a level most influencers can only dream of. But this entire transformation, from overlooked anchor to headline-dominating Mrs. Bezos, has sparked a bigger question. Is this all just ambition and good PR, or was it something much more calculated? So now that we've seen the transformation, the wedding, the spectacle, the rebrand, we're left with one big question. Was this all just a love story? Or was it one of the smartest PR strategies we've seen in years? Because let's be real, Lauren Sánchez didn't just marry a billionaire, she married the billionaire, the man whose company literally changed the way the world shops, thinks, and lives. And instead of fading into his shadow like so many other high-profile partners, she's made herself a permanent part of the Bezos narrative. But not everyone's clapping. A lot of people are still pointing out the stark contrast between Lauren and Jeff's ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott. While Mackenzie quietly donated over $19 billion to nonprofits and education, Lauren was out here hosting foam parties, getting criticized for maid-themed wedding staff uniforms, and sparking outrage over $100 velvet slippers versus $20 Amazon knockoffs. Some say it's tone-deaf, others say it's iconic, and the reactions are split. Some people admire the confidence, the glow-up, the unapologetic way she owns every room. Others see it as performative wealth at its worst, like cosplay for a character no one actually relates to. Even celebrities seem torn. Katie Couric called her dress tacky. Rosie O'Donnell called the whole wedding gross. Meanwhile, Sydney Sweeney was busy dancing with Tom Brady, Orlando Bloom was hopping water taxis with mystery women, and Oprah was just Oprah-ing. It was all so chaotic that it honestly felt like an episode of Succession had collided with the Real Housewives. And right in the center of all of it, still smiling, still posing, still winning. Because whether you love her, hate her, or can't figure her out, Lauren Sánchez Bezos has mastered one thing perfectly. You're talking about her. And in the world of billionaires and celebrity branding, that's the whole game. She didn't just marry into a legacy, she engineered her own. And while the internet argues over her motives and her dress and her slippers, she's already planning her next move. So what do you think? Is Lauren just living her life out loud, or is she playing billionaire chess while the rest of us are stuck in checkers? Let me know what side you're on in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe because something tells me this story is far from over.